Time to meet the top 17 wide receivers in the 2025 NFL Draft. Number 17. Dante Thornton Jr., Tennessee. Thornton is a player I liked more than I expected to. He has an insane speed to size ratio as he is 6'4", 214 pounds, and runs an insane 4.30 40-yard dash. Thornton wasn't utilized as much as he probably should have been in the Tennessee offense, but when he was utilized, he made some big-time plays. He will certainly be a developmental player, but he has all the attributes to be a stud in the NFL. He actually reminds me a lot of Brian Thomas Jr., one of the best rookies in the NFL last season. One team I would love for Thornton to go to is the Rams, as he can sit and develop behind Davante Adams and Puka, which will do wonders for Thornton, especially as Adams is one of the best route runners of this decade. Then, when Davante leaves, Thornton will have a chance to burst onto the scene. I have a late third-round grade on Thornton, but if a team really loves his insane talent, he could go even sooner. Number 16. Tez Johnson, Oregon. Tez will be one of the most interesting players in this draft, as we don't typically see anything like him. He's a very, very undersized wideout who didn't test well in the combine, and it leaves me wondering where would Tez fit at in the NFL. He won't be a deep threat, as he would too easily get pushed off of his routes. He also isn't a super great route runner. So what system does Tez fit in? Well, I think Tez is just a gadget player, and while that may seem like a bad thing, I don't think it really is. Tez is the kind of guy you get the ball to behind the line of scrimmage, and then let him go work his magic after the catch, making people miss left and right. While he isn't super fast for his size, his change of direction and agility is very good, and he can make anyone miss. However, I do think Tez at the best will only be a solid/good slot in the NFL, which is why I have a late third round grade on him. A good team for Tez could be a team like the Steelers, who have big body physical wide receivers, could benefit Tez by getting him even better blocks on the outside. Or a team in need of a better slot/number 3 wide receiver. I could also see the Broncos taking Tez as their QB. Is Bo Nix, and Tez has always been extremely close to the Nix family. Number 15. Jalen Royals, Utah State. I personally am not as high on Royals as a lot of people are. His film didn't jump off to me, and I think he will only work as a slot in the NFL. While Royals has some speed and some good run after the catch ability, I think he's still relatively raw as a prospect, and he also didn't play the greatest competition at the college level. I have a mid to late third on Jalen Royals, and think he could go to a team that is willing to take a slot with some upside in the third round. Number 14. Tre Harris, Ole Miss. Tre Harris dealt with a lot of injuries this past season, but before them, he was on pace for a record-breaking season. Tre Harris has a great build at 6 feet 3 inches, 210 pounds. I have Tre as an early to mid-third round pick, because I think he's a pretty one-dimensional wide receiver. I don't think he can really work in the slot, as his short route running and overall quickness isn't really there. Tre made his money in the medium-deep range with good contested catchability, so I think that's what he will do in the league as well. I think best-case scenario Tre Harris could be a really good number 2 wideout who is maybe a number 1 for some lower-end teams. Number 12B. Alec Iomenor, Stanford. Iomenor is a very big wideout with a long catch radius. However, he's another player I'm not as high on, as he's also very one-dimensional, as he is mainly just a deep threat. He's got a decent release with some good contested catch skills, but struggles a lot with the short routes and concentration drops. He's also not very good after the catch. Overall, I think Alec can be a stud in the NFL if he goes to the right team, but he's a risky, low-floor, high-ceiling kind of guy, which is why I have him falling to the third round. Number 12A. Savion Williams, TCU. Savion is probably the biggest wideout in this class, but he also has a lot of speed and agility, especially for his size. I have Savion only slightly above Alec Iomenor, because Savion is much more versatile. He had a lot of run attempts in college, and is also a former quarterback. Savion struggled with drops, which is kind of to be expected with a dude newer to the position. But Savion is a monster with the ball in his hands and can be a good gadget player who can eventually be a good number 2 or possibly even a number 1 wideout in the NFL. Number 11. Isaiah Bond, Texas. Just as a disclaimer, this does not take into account any of the legal stuff with Bond right now, just strictly on the field stuff. Bond is a very fast player with good long route running and a decent release package. However, Bond did struggle a bit with contested catches. Bond can be very solid in the NFL on the right team, but I think he will be best as a number 2 or even number 3 wideout, as he can also work in the slot a little bit. Bond is my first wideout with a second-round grade so far, as he is coming in at a late second grade. Number 10. Jalen Noel, Iowa State. Noel is a fast wideout with great route running and run after catch ability. However, he struggled with some concentration drops last season. I have a mid to late second round grade on Noel, as he should be an immediate impact in the slot for an NFL team. I don't think Noel will work on the outside, making him a bit more one-dimensional. However, he's going to be really great in the slot. I could see Noel going to a team like the Rams, Vikings, or Steelers to add to already stacked wide receiver cores and give those teams a slot that could take them to another level. Number 9. Kyle Williams, Washington State. One of the most dynamic, fastest wideouts in this class. I am very excited to see what Kyle Williams can do at the next level. The more and more tape I watched, the more I realized how good this guy really is. He's so well-rounded and has very few flaws. I have a mid-second round grade on him, but he could very easily end up being wide receiver 1 in this class because of his explosiveness. He's also a great contested catcher, even for his size. I think Kyle will end up being one of the best slot wide outs in the league. And he's also a guy who can play outside because of his speed and route running. All in all, I think Kyle could be one of the steals of this draft. Number 8. Xavier Restrepo, Miami. Some of the safest hands in this class with great route running equals a very safe wide receiver pick. Restrepo broke records at Miami because of his insane route running ability and awareness for the position. Restrepo is NFL ready, which is why he could be an early to mid-second round selection. Restrepo will fit into so many offenses, it just depends on who'll take him first. Number 7. Jack Bech, TCU. Bech is such a safe player in this class with a big frame, great hands, and unstoppable route running ability. If Bech falls into the wrong team's hands, it could be a missing piece to a Super Bowl. He's super NFL ready and should be one of the best rookies year 1. I've got an early to mid-second grade on him, but he might even slip into the first round if a team likes him as much as I do. Number 6. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State. Higgins reminds me a lot of Drake London, big body wideout with good hips. He's also very refined with one of the best release packages in this class. His long route running is also very nice. Overall, though, I don't think Higgins has the speed or burst to be a first rounder, but it is very possible he sneaks in. However, I have him as an early second right now. Number 5. Emeka Egbuka, Ohio State. Emeka is a great size and probably the most refined wideout in this class. He's a day 1 starter who reminds me a ton of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Emeka is the best overall route runner in this class with a great release package and awareness. Some knocks, however, are his speed, as he's easily one of the slowest wideouts in the entire class. I have a late first round grade on Emeka, and I think he could be the missing piece to an NFL team. Number 4. Luther Burden III, Missouri. Burden is your typical diva wideout, monster athlete, and a run-after-catch demon. Burden isn't the best overall route runner, and honestly, he's pretty much the exact opposite of Emeka Egbuka. so it really just depends on who fits what team's needs better. I have a late first grade on Burden, but he could go higher or even lower. Teams may be scared away by Burden's antics, as he might be a bit of trouble and a quote-unquote locker room cancer. Number 3. Tetaroa McMillan, Arizona. This is probably going to feel way too low for the Arizona standout receiver, but when I watch his film, I just don't understand where the top 10 hype comes from. He's a slow wideout and doesn't move as clean and smooth as some people think. He's slow in and out of breaks and doesn't have much burst or pure speed at all. McMillan is pretty much all size and hands. That's his entire game. He was a good run after catch player in college, but I wonder how well that will translate in the league. Overall, I really just don't believe T-Mac is as good of a prospect as he's hyped up to be, and I don't know how well his game will translate to the league. I have a mid-first round grade on T-Mac, and I think he will at least be solid in the league, and he has a high ceiling. I just doubt he will really ever hit that ceiling. Number 2. Matthew Golden, Texas. I have a full breakdown over Golden on my channel, so go check that out for a better deep dive on why he's my number 1 wideout in this class. Anyways, Golden is without a doubt the best true wideout in this class. He is starting to get a little more hype, but it's still nowhere near where it needs to be. I think Golden is a top 15 player and should go top 15 in this draft. He's a player who is just very, very good at everything. Routes, hands, speed. It feels like there's no flaw to his game, but there are still things he can improve on, sure. But overall, I think Golden is going to end up being a top-tier wide receiver in the league. Golden reminds me so much of CeeDee Lamb, which is funny because there's actually a very high chance Golden goes to the Cowboys to pair up with CeeDee and that wide receiver room, which in my opinion would make that one of the best wide receiver duos in the league very fast, possibly even topping Jamar and T. Higgins. Number 1. Travis Hunter, Colorado. Let's just say the hype is real, and if Travis did end up playing wide receiver only at the next level, I think he would be one of the best in the game. Even though I could say the same about him at corner, Travis probably has some of the best hands and body control of all time for a prospect. And on top of that, you add his speed and his change of direction / run after catch ability. This dude's nearly unstoppable. And it's been that way since he was in high school. Travis could work on his release and overall route running, but I think that would be super easy for him to fix at the next level if he ends up sticking to wide receiver. Overall, though, I do expect Travis to go top 3, and I also expect him to stick to cornerback. However, I do think we will still see him at wideout in the NFL. Just not full-time, and not even half-time, but more like a couple plays a game. 8 to 10, maybe even 15 times a game where he can come in and either be a decoy or catch some passes. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like down below, and if you have any specific position groups you want me to do, please comment it down below as well.